This is the Coin Chat, the most trusted voice for all things cryptocurrency. Each week, we dissect an important issue and cut through the noise and misinformation out there in the world of the blockchain, cryptocurrency, and ICOs to capture the facts that truly matter to you that will give you an edge in this fast-moving emerging market. The who, what, where, when, and how of what you need to know in crypto to get ahead so you don't get left behind. Now here's your host, financial expert and CEO of Coinvestor.io, Steve Good.
All right.
Hey, this is Steve Good, back with Yuri Cataldo on the Coin Chat. Today, we are very excited to welcome our friend and spokesperson and partner for ContentBox. Calvin, welcome to the channel. It's great to have you here. You are
Hey, Steve.
from Beijing, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Super.
Very glad to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. So, look, I mean, in fact, we actually kind of met each other fortuitously through somebody else just by chance, and it's ended up that just in our conversation, you've ended up here. So I'm really excited to have you here because I think, what you guys are doing is exciting and it's interesting, and I think other people want to hear about it. So, before we jump into talking about ContentBox and the platform and the dApps that you're building around it, of course, we want to hear a little bit about who's Calvin Jian and how did you end up in China? Because you clearly have an American accent, or you've got the best American accent ever for a Chinese person who's not native, but I'm pretty sure that's not the case. So tell us a little bit about, you and how you've ended up in China and a little bit about your background, just so we kind of get to understand a little bit about how you've ended up in the blockchain world.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. So, are we recording a video of this as well?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say, in case you couldn't tell already, I'm Chinese. I was born in China, but I grew up in the States. I went there when I was 3. And I have a background in finance and accounting. And so, I've done a little bit of finance, worked at Ernst & Young before. And then the reason I came to China was actually because of my wife, or my then girlfriend. And we actually met at a party. So she's my best friend's cousin.
Your best friend's cousin. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So we met at a Thanksgiving.
Close to the family there.
Yeah, I mean, it made things easier. I mean, in China, they're like a wedding is actually a marriage of 2 families. So
right.
There was like no problems. We already knew their family really well. So yeah, it was love. I came back for love. Let's put it that way.
And you escaped the U.S. ICO land for China's ICO land, which I love. It's just great to hear that someone's actually bucking the trend and going for it and leaving one ICO country that's not really ICO land to another one that's really not very favorable.
Yeah, going to a country where ICOs are all banned, yeah, that was a real smart decision on my part.
You could argue both countries are banned on some level because in the U.S. you can't really do an ICO very easily either. So what's it like actually? I mean, interesting question for you, but what's it like doing an ICO or being part of an ICO team in China right now? Are there any problems with it?
So the funny thing about that is that our CastBox application is outside of China.
Right.
So the way we marketed this as well is outside of China. That way we're trying to escape kind of government recognition about it. But we are doing community building within China. But the good thing is we're not doing like a public ICO. We're doing mostly airdrops and bounties. So we're giving away free stuff, not actually raising money from people, from like regular people. We raise money for our pre-sale through institutional investors.
Okay. Very, very cool. And how does a guy who's in finance and accounting end up in blockchain?
So I got kind of lucky. So I'm pretty good.
Yeah, you just told us about that part. You met your wife through the family and all.
Yeah. I was definitely lucky to meet her as well.
Absolutely.
So it's funny. The founder of CastBox and ContentBox, she's actually good friends with my wife. So, this all just ties in. I'm just a lucky guy. I've just been super lucky.
But you're wearing orange. You're supposed to be wearing red, right?
I mean, I'm American and I'm not like fully commie yet, so I can't.
I thought red was but red's supposed to be a lucky color though.
Yeah, it is. I don't want to make Coke, but I have some red. Does this help?
You get your lucky Coke bottle. You're just wearing.
Yeah.
You're wearing. So for our listeners on Spotify, Apple, and the other podcasts. So Calvin's decided to wear an orange shirt, which of course symbolizes caution, and he's
CastBox.
But he's wearing a CastBox shirt, right?
Yeah.
So just for a point of clarification, so ContentBox or ContentBox.1, which is ONE, right? So that's the URL.
Yep.
So ContentBox
Yep.
was actually the ICO platform, if I understand correctly, which is a platform, correct?
Yes.
For
So that's our blockchain project. Yep.
Right.
That's our blockchain project.
And
go ahead. Sorry to cut you off.
So I just want to make sure I understand what you told me earlier. And then you've got CastBox.fm, which is, of course, hooray, the coin chat is also on the CastBox.fm platform. Yes, thank you very much. I wish I was wearing red because I feel lucky now too. But it's a platform that's a DApp, a distributed app that plugs in. It's part of the ContentBox ecosystem, I suppose you could say. Is that the right way of explaining it?
Yes. So we're not quite at the DApp level yet. It's still a centralized application, but eventually, yes, it's going to be a DApp.
Okay,
and
cool.
CastBox is it's a very popular podcast platform. I think we're number one now on Android, and we still have a ways to go on iOS. But we have over 17 million users. We're in over 175 countries. We're doing pretty well over at CastBox as well.
That's very cool. And is it so? Because CastBox is part of the ContentBox ecosystem, you can also use the box coins within the platform as well?
Yes. So great that you just mentioned that. So we launched a Box wallet back in June. So now you can transfer Box in and out, Box that you have from our airdrops. You can use that directly in the CastBox app. And then you can also transfer ETH into the CastBox wallet. So those functionality, it's already online. And then recently we're introducing, you can do donations within CastBox as well. So that'll be perfect for the coin chat, where you can ask your users or followers to donate Box directly to you.
Start asking, Yuri.
Totally will. So Calvin, could you backtrack 1 second and could you tell us what actually is ContentBox? We kind of skipped that part.
Yeah, we did sort of jumping around a bit because it's just kind of cool stuff. We're in a funny mood today. But yeah, tell us about ContentBox first of all, and the ICO and what the project is about overall. It's a good point.
Okay. So ContentBox is a blockchain infrastructure for the digital content industry. And I think there's a couple of problems that, you guys as content creators, I'm sure are well aware of. It's very hard for content creators to make money nowadays. Just take YouTube, for example. They recently made changes to their advertising rules. Basically, content creators, you're doing a lot of work. You're uploading your content for free onto YouTube, for example, but YouTube's making most of the money, and you guys are kind of struggling to make a living. Well, I mean, not you per se, but just in general.
Very true.
He really just kind of.
I'm sure you guys are doing
just
pretty well.
Poor guys over there. I'm in rich ICO land.
Exactly, man.
You guys seem to be doing all right.
We got something to work for. We're going to work on this one, Yuri. Our guests are coming in here telling us that we're not cutting it. I mean,
Exactly.
I'm sorry. That's not what I meant.
We'll send donations to the coin chat.
I'm definitely wearing a red shirt from now on in the podcast because I need more luck.
So in general, it's hard to make money as a content creator. You guys are well aware of that.
It's hard. It is hard.
And actually, it's not just content creators. The interesting thing is, you can look at YouTube, for example. If YouTube didn't have that many users that were curating the content, so basically people that are commenting, reporting spam, or sharing it also wouldn't be that popular. And we actually think that content consumers, all the users, they should be able to earn rewards as well. So that's another thing that we're trying to solve with content. So those are the two main points that we're trying to target, and that's kind of the background about what we're doing.
And
Sure.
so as a platform itself, I mean, what kind of apps are you trying to plug into the overall platform? I mean, presumably there's going to be a number of different apps. ContentBox has a relationship with Castbox, of course,
Yep.
but there's going to be other apps as well. So what's the kind of longer term roadmap of things you're plugging in?
So any sort of digital content, whether it's video, audio, text, pictures, anything. So we're starting out with audio just because obviously we already have a successful application. So you can think of it kind of like a reverse ICO, right? We already have an app with users and we're kind of adding blockchain on top of it. Of course, with this project, ContentBox is the infrastructure layer, it's at the protocol layer. But to answer your question, yeah, we've already made a couple of acquisitions actually. So one is another audio app, and then one's a picture sharing app. And then we also have partnerships in place already with a couple of other types of apps. So one is like a gaming app, and then other is a short video app. So basically any sort of digital content will be able to start using Box tokens eventually and be able to be a part of our ecosystem.
So for people that are creating like what we do, and we're doing video as well as audio now, so of course we'd like to perhaps have our videos out there one day. But of course, if you've got more broadly people that are doing short film or they're doing long film creation or music creation, then artists would be able to effectively push their content out onto your platform to promote themselves. And perhaps earn Box tokens from the usage of their content being watched or being, is that about right?
Exactly. You got it exactly right. So, donations are one way that content creators can earn money, but eventually, applications, they can develop themselves. They can allow content creators to decide how you want to make money. So you can do it like every time your content is consumed. So let's say, for example, if your video is watched directly, maybe you can earn like 1 Box token for that. So every time it's played, or you could do something like a premium subscription. Subscribe to my channel for 5 Box tokens a month, and then you get unlimited content. So it's up to the creator, it's up to the application. It's very flexible, and that's what we're trying to do. So we're trying to solve the protocol layer, and then the applications themselves, they can dictate how the actual economics will work. It's very flexible.
That's very, very cool. So how big a team are you working with over there?
So we have 60 people.
60.
This is 60, yes.
Wow.
So this is a combination.
Wow, yeah, it's a big team.
It's a combination of Castbox and ContentBox. So let me give you a kind of a breakdown. So we have about 10 people in the US right now, 1 person in Korea, and then everybody else is in Beijing. And there's about 10 to 15 people working on ContentBox right now. And then some of the people are splitting their time between both projects. But, we have a US team. We have US offices in San Fran and Palo Alto. So we're a pretty diverse team.
Very cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. I really like, you and I spoke about it the first time you showed it to me, and I was like, wait a minute, we're on this thing already? So here's a question for you. I mean, because let's say content creators are creating podcast related content, you're pulling how are you guys pulling the data in? Because of course we never signed up to you guys. You just put us in there. So thank you very much. But how do people get pulled into your platform? What's the mechanism?
So this is actually the same with a lot of podcast platforms. We pull the RSS feeds directly that are public. And a lot of them are on iTunes, for example, or wherever your podcast is hosted. As long as it's public, we can pull it and then put it onto our platform. So we'll web crawl and, pull whatever. But of course, there's also content that's private, or, some platforms, there's a paywall, or they have things that are for exclusive users, just like Patreon, for example.
Yeah.
And for those, we'll either reach out to the podcasters directly and ask them for permission to upload their content or like use their links. And then the third way, we actually have something called Castbox Original. So we're also producing our own podcast. So we're partnering with, for example, one of our partners is Studio 71, and they have a host of YouTube influencers and like pretty popular YouTubers. And so they have their own YouTube followers, and then we're also creating a podcast with them. And then launching those as CastBox originals. So those are the 3 ways that we're pulling podcasts onto our platform.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Wow, really cool. So I guess just being the fact that the team itself is already in China as a group, do you